This morning I had a very urgent and panicky message on Twitter saying that, warning me that the government are planning to end van life as we know it in the UK. First of all, let me point out I am not a legal expert. I'm not a lawmaker or know anything about the law as such. However, I have read, commented and worked with a lot of legal documents in the past to do with my work and things like that. So anyway, beside that, this is just my opinion and my thoughts on it, so you can make up your own mind. I'm going to stick a link down below in the description to this news story so that you can decide for yourself as well. Okay, the news story is government consults on new police powers to criminalise authorised encampments. What's that mean then? Proposals include powers to arrest and seize the property and vehicles of trespass. Okay, first off, government consults. So this is just a consultation. It's a long way off from being law or even being finalised to be ready to be encased in law. So it's just the beginning. However, we know how these things can go. Okay. So the government has launched a consultation on the proposals to give police new powers to arrest and seize the property of vehicles of trespassers who set up unauthorised caravan sites. That's interesting, because it's actually saying it's vehicles of trespassers, so they have to be trespassing. Now I find it also interesting that they've used unauthorised caravan sites. So does that mean it's going to be only caravans? In other words, motorhomes, vans aren't included in this? Well, I think that's just the way they've phrased it. I think it probably will include any vehicle or any structure you can sleep in, or any movable structure you can sleep in. But they have specified caravan at this site. If the government make the usual cock up that they usually make, it will just say caravan, and all of us in vans will be excluded from this, and the travellers that, or the subsection of society that they're targeting will just move into, will get rid of their caravans and start using motorhomes instead to get around it. So it'll be the usual farce. But anyway, let's assume they can get this right. Currently, such trespassing is defined in law as a civil matter. In other words, it's not legal. It's not a legal matter, it's civil. So you can't go to prison for it. That's what that means. But the Home Office is consulting on making it a criminal offence. So yes, if the Home Office are looking at it, if it becomes a criminal offence, you could go to prison. The Home Secretary, Priti Patel, said unauthorised encampments can cause misery to those who live nearby, with reports of damage to property, noise, abuse and littering. I've never seen that personally, but I have seen it in the press. We all know how reliable the press are. Our proposals aim to ensure these encampments can be challenged and removed as quickly as possible. This follows a Home Office review into how trespassing while setting up an unauthorised encampment could be made a criminal offence in England and Wales, learning lessons from other countries like the Republic of Ireland. As a result, the Home Office is proposing to broaden the categories of criminal trespass to cover trespassers who enter onto land without permission of the occupier with the intent to reside. So this is not talking about wild camping. This is actually talking specifically about people who are breaking, who are, what's the phrase? Who enter onto land without permission. Now, all land is owned by somebody. The council, so most of it is council owned, or where you wild camp and things like that, or maybe National Trust or whatever. The definition of trespassing is if you enter onto land without permission. If generally it's public land and it's a parking area and people can enter onto land there freely, in other words it's not fenced off and locked up, technically it could possibly not be trespassing. It only becomes trespassing when the owners of the land say you're trespassing. So as part of the consultation, which will begin on Tuesday, the Home Office is also seeking further views from local authorities, police forces, travellers, communities and the general public on alternative measures giving the police greater powers to tackle unauthorised encampments. Now, okay, first of all, they're seeking views from local authorities, they're seeking views from other communities and people. There's nowhere in this article, or there's nowhere on this news thing where you can, it's clearly there is a place for you to contact them to give you your view. I'll talk a little bit more about how what you're going to do about that, or if you want to get involved, at the end of this video. The other bit is power to tackle unauthorised encampments. What exactly does an unauthorised encampment mean? Well, let's read on and find out. These proposed amendments to the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994 include lowering the number of vehicles needed to be involved in an unauthorised camp before police can act from 6 to 2. So currently you've got to be 6 vehicles to be an unauthorised encampment. They're going to bring that down to 2. So if you're a van lifer and you're pretty much on your own all the time and you're stopping somewhere on your own, this is not going to affect you. It's got nothing to do with you whatsoever. Carry on as you are. If however, say you've got a favourite spot by a lake, whatever, and someone else comes there, so nothing to do with you, well then you're 2. You are technically, you could be an unauthorised encampment. Now, does that mean you're immediately, the police are going to descend on you, you're going to be arrested, sent to prison, your vehicle's going to be destroyed? No, it's not. It means that when the police come along and go, sorry mate, you're going to have to move, you're going to have to move. If you don't, it's when you don't move it becomes the issue. Anyway, let's carry on. The next bullet point: giving the police powers to direct offenders to sites in neighbouring local authorities. Currently they can only direct trespassers to sites in the same area. Okay, so it just means that the police have powers to send you to a campsite somewhere or somewhere else. Now this is a good point, because if you think somebody like the Camping and Caravanning Club or someone like that is going to take up this, no they're not, because this is going to be good business for them, because it means that their police are going to be sending people like van lifers, or you know, like the two of you have turned up on in the same place. You could be sent on to them, so it's going to be good business for them. So I very much doubt that if you're thinking, oh, I won't do that, no need to do anything, you know, the Camping and Caravanning Club will campaign for us, I very much doubt they will. Allowing officers to remove trespassers from camping on or beside a road. Again, this is going to be 2 or more. So if you've got a lay-by that you stay in and another van turns up, it could be an issue, but it just means it's going to allow officers to remove you or to ask you to leave. At the moment you could probably sit there and argue the toss. So you know, I think the reality is policing is, they're not going to be spending their entire time driving around looking for vans parked on the side of the road just to move them on. In fact, for the most part they're going to leave them alone. Let me just go back. Just remember, this is a consultation. This is just some thoughts on what they'd like to possibly do. Increase the time from 3 months to a year during which offenders are not allowed to return to a site they have already been removed from. Now let's look at that a little bit more closely. Offenders, or been removed from. If a policeman comes along and asks you to move and you move on, there's no offence, nothing has happened. If they have to physically remove you and you are charged or whatever it is, there's an official record of you being moved on, this is when this affects you, so you won't be able to come back for a year. Responses to an initial consultation on the amendments launched in April 2018 were clear that problems are caused for communities and businesses across the country by unauthorised encampments. Councils have since been reminded of their existing obligation to provide enough transit sites which provide travellers with a place to stay short term and prevent problems being shifted to neighbouring areas. So this could actually be a good thing, in that if councils are forced to provide more transit sites, I'm not clear what a transit site is supposed to mean, but if it gives a free place for van lifers to stay for short periods of time, and let's be honest, van lifers, we don't rack up somewhere and stay for months and months and months in one place, or even weeks. It's usually a couple of days at best, sometimes longer, but if it's really good, but usually it's not that long. So, you know, depends what transit sites are exactly. I'll be interested to know. If you know, stick in the comments below. Would like to know a bit more about those. Right, the news story finishes off with sort of like, oh, they've chucked loads of money at this, and you know, the usual sort of guff. Right, now, as I said about having your say, because some of you are just going to go, yeah, whatever, and there's going to be a few of you out there that are going to want to be involved in this consultation, or at least let the government know, or the Home Office know of how it will affect van lifers, the motorhome community. Well, I had a little bit of a look into who to contact about this, and it seems that the Right Honourable Priti Patel, who is the Secretary of State of the Home Department. Now, how do you contact her? Well, you can't. Well, not right now. Here's the problem. They've started this consultation, then they dissolved Parliament for the election. So until the election's over, no, don't even bother. Once the election's over, we'll know who the new Secretary of State of the Home Department is, and that's the person you need to contact, and you'll be able to find their details somewhere on the gov.uk website. Hopefully this is a consultation that will go on for years, or just fizzle out and very little will happen. Or maybe things will happen, but it won't happen for a long time. Government moves very, very slowly, very, very slowly. So I don't think we need to worry about that just yet. Anyway, if you have any comments or any thoughts on the matter, please stick them in the comments down below. Love to hear from you. And if you found this video useful, informative, or even amusing, give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate those. Or just give me a thumbs up anyway, because I do actually like them. They make me feel good. Anyway, if you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button down below, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I upload my next video. So until next time. Before you go, If you're thinking of full-timing yourself but want to know more, or you just enjoy a really good read, check out my book. It's available now in Amazon, which tells of our story of how we started full-timing very suddenly with no planning, and some of the hilarious consequences of that.